This is a podcast called 25 Whistles, talking football, and they all wear a whistle. Yeah, it's stupid, but what did you expect? It's a podcast called 25 Whistles. 25 Whistles.
Hello, welcome. Could be our last show ever.
What do you mean?
What?
Why?
It could be.
No.
Like somebody dies over the weekend? What do you mean?
What?
Our contract runs through the Super Bowl, then it's over.
No one told me this.
It's always been that.
Oh, my goodness. All right, boys, make it the best show ever.
It's only supposed to be 25 originally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like last year we did like 70 for 25, and this year we signed double than last year, meaning double episodes, 50 even. We did more than that, and it was all the way up until the Super Bowl. So it's probably unless they renew. Last year we renewed up until NCAA basketball, but I've not heard anything about that.
Well, get on it, man.
I made every call.
Really?
It's Super Bowl week.
Yeah, they're busy.
It's hard to get a hold of anybody. So this could be the last show.
Hey, let's make it good.
Yeah.
You want me to blow it one last time?
Well, let me do this. Presented by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with the code BobbySports, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void or prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details. Give us that whistle. That's it. I thought you said best ever, but...
I know.
I mean, now I'm like, could be our last. Who cares?
Well, what a way to go out, though. Two-time Super Bowl champion Tony Casillas on with us.
Yeah. That's awesome, dude.
That's coming up. And also, Paul Mills, head coach of Wichita State basketball, and assistant coach Quincy Acy, who played in the NBA for a bunch of teams, and guard Xavier Bell. So that's coming up. So we're going to have a heck of a possibly last show. Maybe not.
Okay.
I do not know. Can we send a message right now and ask?
Please.
Yep.
Just say like, hey, we're wondering what to do. We're recording our last show right now.
Oh, we're not wondering what to do. I know what to do. Just do the show.
Oh. What do you mean? Still just do it?
You want to just quit mid?
I don't understand what we would do different.
Someone tells me, hey, you're going to die like in the next 30 minutes. I'd be like, cool. All right. See ya.
You just said do the best show ever, then you blew the whistle.
Dude,
like,
but
you have no lung capacity.
You're all over the
I
place
changed
right
my
now.
mind quickly.
Okay, hold on. Hey, man, it's after 10 here, Central Time. I don't know where you are, if you're in Vegas for the Super Bowl yet or not. We are doing our very last 25 whistles that we know of. I'm with all the guys now, and they were a bit shocked this is our last show, unless you have heard that we're getting renewed at all for any weeks or for NCAA basketball. If you have any new information, please let us know. And I'm sitting with them now. Anything you want to say?
Yeah, we need it, man. We
Please.
need more episodes,
Come on.
please.
We're not done yet.
All right, man. Talk to you soon. Thanks.
I won't have a job.
Who was that? Who was that? Mr. DraftKings?
That was Mr.
Jeff
Kings.
Bezos.
Oh.
Oh,
Wow, that's cool.
Was that-
For sure in Vegas
It
then.
was actually Kevin Legret,
Oh.
who is head of iHeartRadio Sports from Los Angeles. So we'll see what's up.
I know who he is.
I was telling our listeners.
Got it.
Yeah. All right, let's go to what's possibly the final Tittle Tattle.
Oh, no.
All right, let's go.
Why even do it?
the last.
Reed's now jumping and doing
Wait,
improv.
was that part of the imaging or
I
was that
like
right
that,
now?
Reed.
It's Reed doing it.
Like that?
Never ever does he talk. And now he jumps in.
Everybody's losing it. I
Yes.
know, we're going crazy. Well, Super Bowl weekend, it's here. What is your favorite headline heading into the big game?
Oh, I got mine.
Well, so the headlines, for example, are Taylor and Kelsey.
Will Taylor make the game?
Taylor make it?
That's a big one.
Patrick Mahomes, if he wins again, will he be a step closer to being the greatest of all time? If he doesn't win, is he a step closer to being the greatest of all time? Just getting there. Brock Purdy, is he legit or not?
Yeah, I like that one.
Andy Reid, chasing Belichick the same way that Mahomes is kind of chasing Brady. If he wins another one, he's in that conversation for sure. Kyle Shanahan back at it after lost the Super Bowl last time, but also 28-3 when they were up on the Patriots in Atlanta. He was the offensive coordinator. So this is his vindication-ish. The two top defenses, my favorite storyline of all of that.
A lot to choose from.
What interests me the most? I guess my favorite storyline is, will I win this money? because I haven't cashed out of it yet.
I haven't seen that storyline, that headline.
It's mine, though, because I did all these futures on Kansas City.
Is that up anywhere? Or?
No, man, it's in Bobby's publication.
It's a story that I'm doing now in my head. I was like, what most interests me about this game? It's that I have all these futures on Kansas City. I haven't made any bets on the game itself.
And you haven't cashed out any of those.
I've done a couple prop bets. I've not cashed out anything yet.
Buzz, we told you what to do. Is it just a bit when you ask us for advice?
No, it's not. But a lot of times when you say stuff, I do the opposite.
I mean, I get it.
And
then
that's
when
why I ask.
When we see the outcome, you're like, good call.
Who do you think wins the game?
I
Because there's no points. Mine was just a future to win the Super Bowl.
think the Chiefs win the game.
That's what most people think.
That's my prediction.
Yeah.
Except Vegas.
Except Vegas. You're right. Correct.
Kevin,
Yeah.
who wins the game?
The Chiefs.
You think so, too?
Yeah. If you're holding a gun to my head, I'd say the Chiefs.
You just put it on the quarterback. You think?
Yeah. At the end of the day, like what do you say around here?
Gotta be the man. You gotta beat the man.
Exactly.
Also, Kansas City's defense, although young, they're really good.
Really?
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
I have one cash out that I could do right now for $1,097.
That's the one we told you.
I just think I'm gonna roll.
Yes.
Roll dog it.
I'm gonna roll raw dog it. I'm gonna roll raw roll. All right, next question.
All right. Do you think Kyle Shanahan needs to win the Super Bowl in order to get put in the Andy Reid category?
Well, yeah, Andy Reid's in the category of, is he the greatest of all time? And if he wins this one, he'll be in that category. Now he's that guy on the precipice of being possibly one of the greatest of all time. But he needs to win a Super Bowl because the Niners have been really good. He's been really good. But twice his teams have choked. Listen, he didn't play defense. He didn't coach the defense when Atlanta, but they also didn't score,
Yeah.
So that sucks. And the San Francisco, they had it.
They're up 10.
Jimmy G threw a bad, but again, it's never just on one play. There are also always many decisions that lead to one play. But I think he needs to win the Super Bowl to be considered one of the. I mean, it's just like a ring. Even though it's always not fair, you get a ring, you're considered a level higher than everybody who doesn't have a ring, even if the person who doesn't have the ring is better. For example, when people compare, like now, Reed, who would you say was a better quarterback, knowing what you know? Eli Manning, 2 Super Bowl wins, or did you ever watch Dan Marino play at all?
No.
Yeah. Like, who would you have as your quarterback?
But I've heard better things about Dan Marino.
You've heard better things?
Yeah. I would say Peyton's better than Eli, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're talking about Eli and Dan, right? That's a comparison.
All I would
go,
say is
yeah.
a lot of people don't give Dan Marino the credit of possibly being one of the greatest ever because he has no rings. Charles Barkley, same thing. No rings. I think he needs a ring. He's been to the Super Bowl twice, Falcons and Niners. He's reached the NFC Championship 5 times. He's known as one of the greatest offensive minds. Not known as a guy who makes great adjustments at halftime, but just can't win the big game.
It's got to be much easier for Andy Reid, too, when your quarterback's Patrick Mahomes, where you got Shanahan, you're just like, gosh.
To be fair,
really
Andy
young.
Reid's quarterback is Patrick Mahomes because Patrick Mahomes has Andy Reid. Meaning all these quarterbacks in Andy Reid's systems, from Alex Smith to Dante Culpepper to whomever, you want to be in his system.
Oh, wow, I didn't realize
But
that.
until when they won it 4 years ago now, he had that monkey on his back too.
Yeah.
Andy Reid.
He
He
did.
went to the NFC Championship 4 years in a row with the
Eagles,
Eagles. Couldn't
yeah.
get it done, and then they lost to the who? The Patriots. Yeah, I think right.
The what?
Yep. No 4.
We don't care. We don't hate the Patriots. You're not really proving
man.
anything. It's the last show and you're being all spiteful. All right.
Tittle tattle.
Next.
All right. The quarterback is a heavy favorite to win the MVP, but if you had to pick one non-QB, who would it be?
Easy.
I know McCaffrey's the dude that probably is going to get the ball and will be the factor. However, I think people would love for Kelsey to be the MVP.
Oh gosh, I hope not.
And if it's close,
Yes.
Please no.
No.
So the problem is if Kansas City wins, Mahomes is probably the MVP. And if San Francisco wins, most likely Purdy, but it also could be one of those other guys. It could be anybody from Ayuk or Debo. But for Kansas City to have Kelsey be the MVP is Kelsey scoring like 3 touchdowns. Because if Mahomes throws 3 and Kelsey catches all 3, Kelsey's going to get the benefit of that doubt.
Because
So-
of Taylor.
Just because
Yeah.
it's easier to throw a touchdown because you have all these options than to catch a touchdown when you're the only option. Just a numbers game.
Yeah.
So I think Kelsey would be hilarious to win, and I think if it's even, he'll get it.
And this is a big deal, too, because if he retires after this year, we're not going to have
He's not
Kelsey.
gonna
We're
retire.
what do you
He's not
mean?
retiring.
He's getting married.
He's not going to retire. And I don't know that he's getting married.
That's what they're saying.
Who's
They've said that about every Taylor Swift romance.
True.
Yeah. All right, next up.
Okay. Last one. Let's do a two-parter because it could be the last one ever, right? Usher is set to perform. So are you excited about Usher? And number two, who out of an artist or a band that you haven't seen perform there at the Super Bowl would you like to see?
I don't want any of my favorite people to ever perform at halftime of the Super Bowl because all it does is create haters. So if one of my favorite, imagine one of my favorite bands, let's say Foo Fighters goes out and plays and freaking rocks it. It doesn't matter how good they play. My wife's gonna be like, "Why are those old dudes up there playing?" And people, and then people who just want to complain will be like, "That sucked," even though it was great, because they do it to everybody. So I don't want my favorite band to play that halftime show. It's not worth it. I think like a Bieber or an Ed Sheeran would be cool because generally they're liked, and there's really not a lot they can do to make people like them less. Because what they do, you already get it. They go out, they play their music, they sing. Ed Sheeran especially, he's got his guitar.
He would be good.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. Or like, I just wouldn't do it if I were like somebody though that depended so much on the vocals. Like if you were like an Adele, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's so good vocally that if they happen to mess that up a little bit, or it's not exactly perfect, it didn't live up to the Adele standard.
Well, they lip sync it too, right?
Sometimes and some of it, but not all of it all the time.
Yeah. Like they turn it off when they're like, "Thank you, Super Bowl."
Well, I think they also sing with their tracks sometimes too, because it's been a thing where it's like, oh, they're lip syncing.
I think they missed the boat on this one. Huge opportunity to not have Taylor do it.
They couldn't.
What do you mean?
I believe the sponsor, maybe it was last year, the sponsor, the Pepsi Coke thing, but Apple this year.
Yeah.
And also, why would Taylor? She doesn't need it.
No, I know.
Because they don't even pay. It
doesn't pay.
Just for the followers and promotion, yeah. And she definitely doesn't need it.
Yeah, she's the most famous person ever right now. All right, that's the final Tittle Tattle. Thank you.
Stupidest name ever. It's the Tittle Tattle with Kickoff Kevin.
25 Whistles presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings app. Use the code BobbySports to get in on the action. The final. Let's go out in style. We haven't missed a football bet in weeks.
Come on.
That's right.
We haven't missed a parlay in weeks. Here we go.
Come on, Bones.
Chiefs money line. Even though they're the underdog at +2. Let's pop those odds a little bit. Chiefs money line. Under 47.5.
I like that.
Because you get two defenses. And I'm going Kelsey over 70.5 receiving yards.
Yeah.
That's it. Count your smiles one final time.
Yeah. Let's go.
Thank you. That's
Boys
it.
feeling it?
And they'll have it up there. If you want to take the 25 Whistles parlay, you can check out DraftKings Sportsbook. New users use the code BobbySports when you download the app, 21 and up in most eligible states. But age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Now let's get over to our chat with two-time Super Bowl champion, Eddie's dude.
Woo!
You guys sat with him in the suite at the Cowboys game?
Oh, dude, yes, this is awesome. I have his phone number and
Is
everything.
that how you got him on the show?
Yeah.
You got his number?
Yeah, I told him all about what we do and everything. He's like, "Oh, cool, man." He's like, "Get me on your podcast." So we're like, "We'll see, dude."
Oh, he requested you, and then you said, "We'll see,
He
dude."
did, and I said, "We'll see,
Got
man."
a
We
feeling
got-
that's not how it happened.
No,
Eddie was like, "Yes, please come on our podcast, dude. We love it."
Dude, come
Tony
on.
Casillas. Tony was a nose tackle who won back-to-back Super Bowls with the Cowboys in the early 90s.
Damn right.
He won national championship at Oklahoma. Big Boomer Sooner guy. Him and Eddie became best friends. Did you write this?
No, I did
Oh,
not.
my
I did not, but that's a great description. Go ahead.
Him and Eddie became best friends when they met in Dallas for a game this year, and I grew stronger during this. Okay. Anyway, here he is at Tony Casillas. Thank you. All right, Tony, thanks for coming on the show, man. We, so went to Dallas. We went to work with TCU on a show that we do, and I was not able to go to the Cowboys game, but whenever I met up with these guys, they were like, we hung out with Tony Casillas, and you didn't, and that was super cool. So that's literally all they said. So for me, it's my first time to meet you. But Eddie is a massive Cowboys fan and a massive fan of yours. So I just told Eddie he could start with the first three questions here.
What is up, Tony?
What's going on, man? I'm just privileged to be on the Bone Show, man. I'm just thrilled. Good seeing you guys. We had a great time there in Dallas, and fortunately won the game. But doing good, boys. Thanks for having me.
Dude, it's so good to see you too. And I just quick, Bones, I was telling you a little bit that it was the second time that I'd met Tony, because the first time we met, and I told you this, Tony, is the first time we actually met was when, God, dude, I don't know how old I was. I was a little kid, and you just won the Super Bowl, and you were doing these tours around HEB's, which is like a local grocery store in Texas. And it was like, dude, it's the biggest thing that happened in McAllen,
Like
Texas.
The Pope came to McAllen?
Yeah. Tony Casillas.
you Brown and McAllen, you're somebody, and you play for the Cowboys.
Yeah. So
Now, I saw you guys. I mentioned that before. That I know Toby was on your show, and man, I've known Toby since 2000. Just to hear the news today, as you guys heard, man, it's just a tragedy. It's so sad, man.
So I know Toby. I'm a massive Arkansas fan. Toby's a massive Oklahoma fan. You know, we definitely have our where we're from. We both are very much involved. And Toby lived back in Oklahoma. Obviously, you played at OU. Like, what was you guys' bond, and where did you meet? Was it in school?
So we start now.
Oh yeah, we're going.
Oh, yeah. So hello. You know what? How I met Toby was interesting because it was actually 2000 whenever OU played in the national championship. It was versus Florida State, and Toby was a huge Sooner fan. I mean, he wrote the song. He did should have been a Cowboy. I'm not for sure if he had the Cowboys in mind, the Dallas Cowboys, but anyways, it kind of became our song. But the first time I met him, really, he wasn't the Toby that he is now and then became, and this country, country singer, a legend. He was just a down-to-earth dude, big dude, loved football. In fact, I think he really, his first dream and first love was being a professional football player, but I think he did pretty good as a singer. But the first time I met him, we just hit it off. We were on the sidelines watching Oklahoma beat Florida State at the time. And that's kind of where I first met him. And obviously after the game, we went to a post party at the Fontainebleau Hotel and threw a few back and just kind of became friends. And, you know, he invited me back to his charity golf tournament because he's such a big advocate and started his own cancer. I believe it was called Oklahoma Corral, and it benefited children with cancer. So man, the dude was a great dude. He's a big dude, 6'3", big dog. And you see things like today, and first of all, cancer has hit so many people. My wife's a breast cancer survivor, but to see him. What he became after everyone remembered me as this big barrel-chested dude. I'll never forget those times. And going to all the shows, I think I've been to 20 Toby Keith concerts before and just never really got enough of watching him perform. I mean, he was a true American, man. He was to the core, and I think that's the beauty about someone like that. He didn't really care what people thought about him. He wrote his music. Obviously sold 40 million albums and just he was just a great story. So to hear the news this morning, this being on a Tuesday, getting up at 5 a.m. in the morning and turning the news on and breaking news, it just I'm sure just along with a lot of other people just crushed me because guys like that are supposed to live forever and unfortunately. That's not the case, but man, what a tremendous human being.
When I think of Toby Keith, I just think OU. I mean, he's such a Sooner. All my family are Sooners, like diehard, generationally. I'm a Razorback, so it gets to be annoying because you guys win, right? Like that's annoying to me because we don't win and you do. And so, do you consider yourself, or do you think that you get called out more for being a Sooner legend or a Cowboys Super Bowl champion if you're just somewhere? Who are you mostly? Tony Casillas from the Sooners, All-American, or Dallas Cowboy champion?
Well, I tell you what, with my Super Bowl ring, I'm just this old guy with the Super Bowl ring. And, it's a funny thing about it as a Cowboy, you're living in Dallas and, man, it's just been, Dallas has been this toxic relationship for so many years. I think everyone just hears the same thing and, it's going to change, but you never change. And you break up and you go back together. I think probably living in Dallas, I've been out of the game for so long, but, the true fans remember you. Dallas, it's unfortunately, as I mentioned, it's been so long since we've done anything relevant, and which is okay. We just have to reminisce about the old times. But I think OU football is something that always be in my DNA. God, I had so many great memories. I think when I go back to Oklahoma, a lot of people, they recognize my work and and regardless of how old you get, there's a yoke between you and the fan base. And I think that's the beauty of that. The beauty of, I think when I look at playing the game of football is how lucky I've been to be able to play on championship teams, because a lot of fans, the fan base will forget different players and different groups of generations, but they have the tendency not to forget, hopefully, the history and understand that. And I think in Oklahoma is obviously a great case for that. But, Dallas is it's been such a long time. And so we have to be relevant somewhat with the guys that played in the Super Bowls 30 years, as weird as that sounds. Unfortunately, that's where we're at now. It's not my undoing. I tell everyone I have nothing to do with it, and we just did what we did. And I do tell people you were just born at the wrong place at the wrong time.
So would you rather, if you had to pick one, OU win a national championship next year, first year in the SEC, or the Cowboys win the Super Bowl?
Damn, that's a great question.
Easy.
But you only get one.
I don't know. I think that's a great question. I'm gonna go with Dallas. I think Oklahoma, and it's going to take some transition for them to get used to the SEC, and I think they'll win, but I think the parity is a little different. I think the Big 12 had some great teams in it, or some teams with the transfer portal and the NIL. You guys know it just changes everything. It's just you can't really get any gauge on any team because they change so much. I'm looking for that answer. I'm gonna go with Dallas because I think that and here I am following. It's not even preseason yet, because that's usually what everyone does.
This is our year. This is our year.
Yeah, this is our year. It's our year until it gets to the postseason play, and then we're like, what the hell just happened the last 17 weeks? But I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. And this, what's Bonds is what, Bobby, is that my daughter went to Arkansas, so I'm a big Arkansas fan, and I know John Daly. I know he's a huge. Obviously, he bleeds Razorback, but I love going to Arkansas. I love going to I love the SEC and the environment and everything that goes along with that. But it's just that's a big boy conference. So, but I'm going to go with Dallas. I'm going to continue on. It's going to be our year. And damn, I just want them to go back while I'm still here. I mean, is that too much to ask?
No.
Let's just keep our fingers crossed, man.
That's not too much to ask. I think that's perfect. But Tony, let me ask you this. You were there when Jimmy Johnson did the famous "How About Them Cowboys." What was that like in person? I mean, obviously you were on top of the world when that happened, but that's something we will, as Cowboys fans, will say forever, and you were there.
Well, here's the thing. I remember, he got inducted to the Ring of Honor. His guys went back for his players. He wanted to make sure that we're able to come back and experience that, which was long overdue. But when he came out there, and the last thing he said, I think we're all just anticipating that happen. But when he said it, "How about them Cowboys?" It's just very vivid, because I remember after we won the Super Bowl, that's the words that came out of his after the game, after we won the game, and it's so vivid because it really hasn't changed. Jimmy's older, but his delivery and his communication with us in the locker room was the thing that great coaches were able to do. And who would have thought that would have been this legendary, this quote that he said after the game is beyond. And, it just really sends chills down your spine, because being in that moment and understanding how vivid it was, and to hear him say it, granted this has been 30 years ago, and to now hear it, man, it's timeless. And the fact that he did it when Dallas was getting blown out by Green Bay at the halftime, like, why didn't they just kind of plug it in the locker room so these guys, these modern day players could hear that? Because it doesn't change, man. It makes you move. And so Yeah, it's a vivid moment that will never change. And he was just an amazing communicator. Man, he just pulled those things out of nowhere, and just here we go. 30 years later, that's and you'll hear that forever.
I've always wondered, like how the announcers get clarifications for like names, and I'm Hispanic, and I know that Garcia is a little easier, but Casillas is like specific. My last name's Casillas. Did you have to tell people over and over, like, all right, this is how you pronounce it? It's not Casillas. Like, this is how you pronounce it.
Well, it's a butchered name without a doubt, and I expect it. What's interesting is, like, when I was growing up in Oklahoma, I had 65 first cousins, a big culture, Hispanic family. Dad had 13 brothers and sisters. Do the math. Hispanic Catholic, so kind of get the picture. So when I was in, prejudice was really prevalent in Oklahoma, and so it was funny because we lived on the other side we lived in the white neighborhood, so to speak. We got out, and then it really wasn't this. It was very middle class or maybe lower middle class, but my grandparents lived on the other side. And what would happen is every weekend, all this, it's like a small house. It was like 1 or 2 room house, very small. I remember I could touch the ceiling when I was like 6th grade. That's how small the house was. So anyway, everyone would come there. It was 65 first cousins, grandparents, everything. My dad never spoke Spanish around me, but I know when he got around my uncles, they started, saying all these cochino words. So I knew they didn't want to hear what they were talking about. But anyway, when I went over to my grandparents, my uncles and aunts pronounced their name Casillas. But then when we went back over to East Side Tulsa, it went back to Casillas. And I'm thinking, okay, well, aren't we related? Isn't that your brother? And so he never did give me really an answer to that. So it's Casillas. So everyone called me Casillas until I got to college. And I finally had a hard conversation. I said, Dad, why is our name pronounced different than my other family? Because, well, I just wanted to make it sound more Anglo. We're living in an area, and I just didn't want to hear you guys have to go deal with all the prejudice. So that's when I went back to Casillas. And, obviously people that knew me, thought that my name was Casillas for a long time. And I said, no, I corrected them. So, but yeah, it's a very profound name. It's I know there's a lot more Casillas out there, but it's probably one of the most butchered names without a doubt.
Whenever you're drafted by the Falcons, you play a few years in Atlanta, and you head over to Dallas. But Dallas wasn't good your first years in Atlanta. As a matter of fact, they were terrible. So when you were going to Dallas, were you like, all right, I'm about to get in on a organization that's on the way up, or were you like, I don't even know what's about to happen?
No, I knew anything was going to be better than Atlanta. It was this toxic environment. The organization, it was more just trying to make money and not spend money to be good. And it just become this culture of, it was very toxic. And I just, coming from Oklahoma and winning, I know that you're the second player picked in the draft, and it's a huge honor. You get paid. Back then I thought it was a lot. I mean, it's still a lot of money, but anyway, I knew that there's a lot of things that come with that. For one, it's that you're going to be on a really crappy team, and I was. But I think it was a culture. There was not. I think that's kind of the misleading about people whenever, they think that they see these athletes playing on different teams and how glamorous it is, and social media and everything. But I tell you what, you get into that routine of just going to work, and you've heard this all the time, and just getting a paycheck. I mean, all of a sudden it becomes this. It's contagious, and everyone has that same attitude. Hey, we don't need to win. We can go 4-12, and I'm gonna get ready for a vacation when it's the 10th week in the season. So I just didn't, and I hated that. And so I got traded, and I tell you what's the best thing that ever happened to me. You mentioned Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson, he saved my football career because, Dave Wanstead, who I knew from high school, recruited me. I knew Jimmy. They were Oklahoma State. So they had some familiarity with me. And so they saw the good in me. But I tell you, dudes, man, when I got to Dallas and I got off the plane, it was a night and day. And people were excited. even if they were bad, they still had expectations because that was coming from the new owner and that was coming from a coach. And you just kind of knew it wasn't going to be like that forever. These guys are going to make something really, really special happen.
You beat Buffalo twice in a row. They ended up losing two. They ended up losing two more. After what loss did you start to feel bad for them?
No.
Never.
I never feel bad.
Never.
Don't ever feel bad for the opponent. And look, there's a reason why you got the rings, and they don't. I guess they give you a runner-up ring in the Super Bowl, but this is not as good as the Super Bowl, the champion ring. And I guess there was some. I mean, you go to the Super Bowl 4 times and you don't have anything to show for it. I guess I feel sorry for the fans. I mean, they got the best fans, but no, I never feel any. I don't really feel sorry for the loser. I mean, I don't.
Whenever they were playing the Giants, or did you root for Buffalo when you guys weren't in it because you had played them, or did you have a weird taste because you played them and competed against them and didn't like them?
Well, we hated people in the NFC East. I mean, you got the Giants, you got Washington, you got the Eagles. So you hated each other in that division without a doubt. Now I cheer for Buffalo. I think it's been so long, and as long as Kansas City's in the AFC and, all these other teams, they just, for some reason, that's kind of they can't ever get over winning the big game. And it's been for a long time. But I'm just like anyone else. I love watching football. I'm a huge fan. But when it comes to playing a team and feeling sorry for me, you watch guys after the game, maybe that's old school, exchanging jerseys, and after you get your ass kicked, I'm like, really? I mean, you really want my jersey after I just kicked your ass? And I don't like that, but I guess that's just the way it is in today's generation.
So with San Francisco in the Super Bowl, and obviously my memories, especially when you were playing, it was Dallas and San Francisco in the NFC Championship. It felt like
Always.
Every year, right? And so do you still have, this negative feeling just toward the brand of the 49ers, not the people or the organization, or because they were a rival, or is that long gone as well?
You know what? I think when they're playing Dallas, I think some of that stuff comes out. And I think that, our success against the 49ers, and as you just mentioned, we played each other, and it meant something. It's going to be in a postseason play. It's going to be the 49ers and the Cowboys and all these historic matchups and everything that goes along with it. But, I mean, when I look at the Super Bowl, I just think it's such an accomplishment that teams get there because it's so hard to get there. And I think there's a lot of people that they have their teams and the teams they cheer for. And even for Buffalo, in saying that, I said I feel sorry for them, but the fact that you're able to get there is a huge accomplishment. And winning it, I mean, there's so many things that have to happen for you to be able to get on that road of going to Super Bowl. But I look at the 49ers. The Raiders are probably the worst, the most aggressive fan base, I would say, and that would be the Raiders, and after that, the 49ers. First of all, if anybody invites you to go to 49ers Raiders game, don't go, man. There's a good chance you're going to get your ass kicked. Say you're very, or it depends on which jersey you're going to wear. I just love watching. I mean, there's so many great things. These two, with San Francisco, you got a quarterback that was drafted, last player picked in the draft, and taking his team to the Super Bowl. So there's so many storylines to it to not make you, to want to make you cheer for them just because of what their storylines are.
All right, 3 final questions. Dan Quinn left. Defensive coordinator, did a great job in Dallas, but now he's going to go and be the head coach of the Commanders. How big of a loss to the Cowboys is that?
I think it's a big loss. I think we all kind of knew that Dan was going to be a head coach again after Atlanta. But I think that after that playoff game that when Dallas lost to Green Bay, there was kind of some kind of decision making that was made on the defensive side of the ball. But I don't know. I think that there's probably some things on that defense we don't know about. I think that when you look at the players that they have defensively, I think Micah Parsons is a tremendous player, but I think sometimes he may be a little selfish, and because you look in that game, not to get too technical, the way they were playing on the nickel pads, they're playing with a lot of defensive backs. They really didn't have a linebacker. All their linebackers were decimated. Leighton Vander Esch, he was injured. So their linebackers just disappeared. And I just don't think Micah, the way he plays, he wants to play up, make all these big plays, and there's nothing wrong with that. But whenever you need to solidify the core of your defense, you got no one to play. I just don't think guys really took on that role. And I think Dan's going to be he's a tremendous coach. Everyone I've talked to, been around, and he's just a leader, man. He's very, defense is fun to play. And really, guys, really, the last 3 years, what he did for the Dallas' defense was amazing. And will it hurt? To a certain extent, but I think that there'll be a different philosophy, but it'll be a philosophy that's kind of similar to what they have now. But I think he's going to be a tremendous, tremendous coach. I mean, Washington got their guy. I think he'll definitely help turn that program around.
Yeah, along with that, Champ, the fans are always talking about like,
call him Champ. Look at the name.
Yeah, he's a champ.
I know he's a champ, but it was just like so casual, like
Super Bowl champ.
Yeah,
okay. I love it, man. You call him whatever you want.
Go ahead.
Hey, to be honest, when
listen to let him continue.
My bad.
Come on, man. Yeah. Hey, just a couple of Cowboys fans talking here. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Champ, like I was saying, so like a lot of the fans loved it. They blamed Dak, they blamed Jerry Jones, they blamed the coach, they blamed Dan, like Dan Quinn, they blame all sorts of things, and I just feel like, don't they know what they're doing? Like we don't know what's going on in there. Like they know what they're doing. But you've been inside it too. Like, is that factual to be inside the organization and listen to fans, listen to radio shows, talk about what the problem is, and then you just listen to that and say, like, that's not even close to what's happening here?
Well, I think that's now with it was funny. I asked Troy Aikman. I was doing a podcast. I was doing some hit on Instagram, and I was asking, I said, what would be the difference between now and, when you played and the quarterback now for the Cowboys? Goes, well, I probably have about 5 million more followers on Instagram. So the social media component has really changed things because it's a brand. And I think that really is kind of a slippery slope for the brand, especially the Dallas, because I think that some guys just get all caught up in that, really didn't cut their teeth or do anything to haven't won anything in the last 30 years. And so it's a representation of what this brand brings you as a player. And I think sometimes that kind of gets lost in all the most important thing is like you go out there and you're supposed to win. And this is a franchise that's won in the past. So it's your job to get us relevant. And I think sometimes that gets lost with just, hey, I'm a Dallas Cowboy. I'm America's team. 40 million people watched this last week. They're going to see me. And then and I think sometimes maybe for some guys, and they get caught up in that. And I think that's kind of something we're seeing with this team, because whenever you show up and you play in a playoff game like they did against Green Bay, and you play awful on offense, on defense, every aspect, coaching was horrific and was terrible, and then you expect people to listen to what you have to say without any criticism. And to me, you can't have it both ways, man. If you want to be part of this platform and you don't want to be criticized for your play how you played and you want to be soft, then that's your problem. To me, I think that's kind of been a demise, certainly for Dallas in the last few years, just because of that, because the brand's gotten so big without any validation, validating that, hey, we're this good. And it makes people mad to hear America's team and like, hey, you guys haven't done anything in years, but Jerry's a marketing genius.
You are who you are. You are
America's team.
My final question is more of a statement. I got a text from my father-in-law, massive OU fan. He said to tell you, thanks for the goal line stand against Texas and Nebraska. He really appreciated that. What do you remember about the goal line stands against Texas and Nebraska?
Well, I remember the Texas game, and tell your dad, right? Just tell your dad that my butt still hurt about that game because we ended up losing. The goal line stand was amazing. It was 1984 in the Cotton Bowl, OU Texas game, and we're just balling out. And during the duration of the game, there's so many plays that we recovered fumble, we got takeaways, but we didn't get the ball. We just didn't catch any of the breaks that we should have. Instant replay, slam dunk, and won the game. Then we had the goal line stand, and we had to keep them out. It was miserable. It was raining. Just this kind of a cold environment if you're a player, just down and dirty. And they had the ball right there on the goal line, right there. I believe it was it was first and half a yard to score. And we stuffed them 4 times. And ultimately, that's how we ended up winning the game or tying the game because we ended up taking a safety. And then they got the ball back. And we made an interception in the end zone, which was clearly 2 yards in bounds by Keith Stanberry. And that would have changed the play. We would have won the game. But they were certainly they're very fortunate. And they kicked the field goal and it tied. So, that really pissed me off, and I was really upset about that. In the Nebraska game, when we played Nebraska, there was always something that was going to happen big at whoever won that game, and we needed to win that game in Norman. We stuffed them the same circumstances. It was one of these, you keep them out of the end zone, or we're not going to the Orange Bowl playing for the national championship. And we ended up stuffing because you know what? We were used to it. That's the thing about it. Tell people, you get used to doing things and you create that confidence that you think yourself that you can't accomplish, and you do it once or twice. You know what? You're going to get confidence. And that's what we did. We played with a lot of confidence, and hell, we knew what was at stake. And we ended up going out there and got it done.
Tony, we really appreciate the time. And Eddie appreciates your life.
Yeah, thanks, champ.
He really
appreciate it.
He appreciates you existing.
All of it.
And yeah, everything about you, actually. So you guys follow Tony Casillas at Tony Casillas on Instagram, 2-time Super Bowl champion. And, let's go Chiefs.
Who do you guys like?
Well, I got a bunch of money on the Chiefs. I bet a bunch of futures. I bet a bunch of futures like way a long time ago on Kansas City. So we're looking at a big payout if they happen to win. So let's go Chiefs.
Yeah, and I support my buddy, so let's go Chiefs.
Let's go Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go Chiefs.
Let's go Chiefs.
Hey, so what I like is the prop bets. What do you think? What's the biggest prop bet before we?
Well, we like the over-under. I think it's like 21 of the first touchdown, the jersey of the first person who scores.
Yeah.
And so we were laying out, obviously, Debo, but Mahomes, but he's not going to rush. He has no rushing touchdowns the whole year. So I don't know. To me, it feels like I'm going to bet the over on that and hope it's like a Kelsey. But
McCaffrey.
Brandon Ayuk is a low number too, but like McCaffrey, Kelsey, I think those guys are who I would bet on scoring. That's our favorite one.
Man, I thought you were going to do the over and under how many times they're going to show Taylor Swift.
I've learned not to really talk about that. I feel that the power of the Swifties.
Swifty power.
When I am not.
I'm sorry. I had to throw that out there.
And I'm glad you did. But Swifties, You heard it. It wasn't me, Swifties.
And whatever number that is, it's going to be over.
Probably. Unless she hides. Yeah.
I love the prop bets. We did it at a Super Bowl party before. It's like 25 questions of, how long the national anthem is, how, which coach they're going to show first, and, what's just different things. It's pretty cool to bet the prop bets. But man, I really appreciate you guys having me on here. This is true an honor. Love your show. My boy, man, thanks for the champ comments. That made my day.
You got it, champ. Anytime.
All right.
All right, Tony. See you later, buddy.
Peace out, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Here's our talk now with Wichita State head coach Paul Mills from our show Too Much Access. Coach Mills was an assistant at Baylor for 14 seasons before going to Oral Roberts and now Wichita State. He talked about his inability to sit during games because of an old injury, and we really liked him. Good dude. Here is Coach Mills.
Coach, thanks for having us. We noticed there's a game on. Now, when we're here, what's like 10 a.m.?
Yes, early.
This game can't be live because you're not there.
Yeah.
So do you ever choose to show bad games, or is it only wins on the screen in the locker room?
One, I have no idea what game
Oh,
that
okay.
is, so I'm not responsible for that. But there's no reason in the world to relive bad games. You're probably trying to relive good experiences. So I can promise you, I've been married for 26 years. If my wife ever asked me to watch our wedding video, it actually went well. If it had gone sideways, we wouldn't want to relive that. So if a game's on, it's probably one we won.
Okay, so it's St. Louis.
We win this one.
Yes.
We win this for sure.
Yeah. That's good. Do you ever see yourself in even a game you win and you're kind of maybe, man, I wish I wouldn't have reacted that way. Like I'm kind of embarrassed by because I do that all the time. I'm always embarrassed by my own actions. You ever see you react to something and you think maybe that's a little too much?
Yes, definitely. I think any of us, as we're doing anything, we're like, I could have handled that better. And, that's just an issue of growth, right? I think people who don't ever want to grow, they think they're always perfect. But the people who can kind of look introspectively and say, man, I could have tightened this up. I could have responded better. I find myself sometimes doing that with my own children. Like we got a 92 on the history test instead of a 95. Not really, but you kind of do that with your players, and you learn how to handle things better.
Being a parent and being a coach, similarities there?
Same thing. A lot of encouragement. You recognize when they're down, and you recognize when they need to be encouraged. You recognize when things aren't going well, and you're asking them why. And the reality is I'm probably with these guys more than I am some days with my own family. I mean, I'm around these guys 4 hours every day, 6 days a week. And then if you're traveling and playing games, you're probably with them about 10, 12 hours a day. So you're around these guys quite a bit, and you kind of recognize what works. Some guys are encouragement guys, and you got to tell them how good they're doing. Other guys are challenge guys. I have little man syndrome. And so the more you challenge me, the more I would kind of, all right, I'll prove you wrong. And so you kind of do. You have to know all the different personalities in the room and how to handle it. But very similar. I'm a better coach because I'm a parent.
Yeah, my next question was about leadership, and you talked about it a little bit there, because it's not a one-size-fits-all with different personalities. Even with me in my role, and I have a big staff, and I have to handle everybody a little differently based on the performance I can get from them on how they like to be communicated with. Where I'm sure some players like to have it told, and some players like to have dance around and like to be soft with them. How long does it take to kind of figure out someone's communication style and method?
Yeah, it takes a while. You have to spend a lot of time with them. We do a thing called Mills, M-I-L-L-S.
I don't know what that is.
M-E-A-L-S. So Paul Mills, yeah. And so we eat every Sunday night. And
that's what I thought it was some kind of like
M-E-A-L-S.
Like invented a test. That,
Paul Mills,
like, let's take
M-E-A-L-S.
How many triangles are in this triangle? I'm like, all right, let's go.
Being from Houston, my pronunciation isn't great, so you kind of got to.
I'm from Arkansas, so yeah.
And so, spending a lot of time in that fellowship where they get to know each other, we get to know them. We eat quite a bit, obviously, on the road together. So being in those situations to where but I think you can be demanding without being demeaning. You can say, hey, here's the standard. How do we rise up to it? We're not going to lower the standard. This is the standard. How can I help you reach that standard? How can we make sure that you have the resources and the people necessary in order to get to where you need to go? I can recall one day somebody in the office said, man, can I get, what I need to help me? I need a paper cutter. It's like, all right. Next morning, stop by Target and hey, here's a bow with a paper cutter on it. That's going to help you. I don't know how it's going to help you, but if that's going to help us be more efficient, those are the things you want to do. And so I think you're just constantly, this is the standard. This is what needs to get done. We're not going to lower it. We can be demanding without being demeaning, but you need to tell us what you want out of this so that we can help you provide the resources, provide the people in order to get to wherever it is we're trying to go.
Just so you know, Coach, I'm also a coach. I coach my son's 10-year-old basketball team.
It's the same.
So,
it's very much the same, yeah.
But after a game, Coach, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it's Saturday morning, 11 o'clock game. Afterwards, I'm like, I need a beer. Like, I'm so tired from just screaming and stressing and yelling. Are you exhausted after a game?
Depends on the game, but you're definitely pretty fatigued. There's just so much prep work. So we'll give a scouting report to our players, and it'll be about 120 hours committed to that specific scouting report. And you have to keep it really, really simple. So all the preparation and the work that goes into presenting that information to your players to help them on the court, that takes a lot. The practices leading up to it take a lot. The game takes a lot. That's probably the most. But I have so much adrenaline flowing in me after the game, whether we win or lose. If you win, you're kind of like, all right. If we lose, you're like, what went wrong? Yeah. And I'm just so anxious to jump into the film. Usually takes me about 8 hours after a game. So let's say a game, 7 o'clock. I get home 10:30, 11. I'm usually pulling all-nighters. I usually go to about 7 a.m., breaking down the game and figuring everything out. If we win by a lot, sometimes I'll cut it down by like after 2 or 3 and say, I'm going to get back to this in the morning. But what happens in conference is you only get 1 day off sometimes between games. I don't know how football coaches do it, because if you lose, I couldn't wait another week. So I do like basketball. It's like, all right, 48 hours, we get another chance. But I find the adrenaline, I am tired, but it's like I got to fight through this because we got another team to prepare for in 48 hours.
Has it ever been so bad that you buried the tape and don't watch it? Like the game was so bad, done?
I can't ever recall that. So I coached at Baylor for 14 years prior to going to Oral Roberts, and we lost a lot of games by 50. My first 4 years, going against Kevin Durant and Blake Griffin and really good players in the Big 12. And so there were days there that we forgot about the tape and just kind of moved on. But it's different now as a head coach, because you feel that it's on us and the staff to tighten these areas up. And so I don't believe, as a head coach.
Has it ever really been your fault? Because coaches will be like, that one's on me, but I always feel like they're just taking the bullet.
No, it's been my fault. So I'll tell you this. When we played in the Sweet 16 game in 2021, when I was at Oral Roberts, we lost by 2 points.
To who?
To Arkansas. Yeah. Arkansas.
Bones, come on, man.
And you know what Paul Mills got? Paul Mills got a technical that allowed Arkansas to get two free throws.
Yeah, I love you.
You remember that?
I love you. Oh, yeah.
And in my mind, it's like, man, I could have handled that better. And if you ever coach a Sweet 16 game and it doesn't go your way, lose by 50 instead of losing by 2. Losing by 2 keeps you up at nights. But I do, yeah, I totally, you got to own it. That's on you. And I could have done better, although we did go on a 15-4 run right after the technical, and kind of.
I didn't like that. Yeah.
And so any of that, you do kind of have to think through it. But yeah, I definitely think, from my perspective, it's on me.
What about like schematically? Have you ever just planned wrong?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Really?
Yeah. And it's easy to say, oh, your players, they didn't get it done. That's just easy to throw your guys under the bus. But no, definitely playing wrong. Didn't think a guy who, hey, this guy only makes 20% of his three-point shots. All right, we're going to give him some looks. And what he is he's a confidence kid. So he sees those first one. You want him to make the first one if they're bad shooters, because what you know is they'll keep shooting. Like, all right, the bad shooter made one. He's going to continue to do it. Then he makes a second one. You're like, ugh. And then the third one, you're like, holy cow, you can do. Now he's just feeling it. That match is lit, and you can't put it out. And I've done that before, to where you just made a mistake on some personnel calls.
Alley-oops. We love watching them as a fan, but as a coach, do you like alley-oops, or are you just kind of like, let's just do the safe play and get
No, so the best shot in basketball is a dunk or a layup. So we're trying to get as many of those as possible. And if you can have guys who can go up and fetch that stuff, it's pretty. One, it's an electric play, but to be honest with you, it's a good play. Like, if you could just grab a ball and you're above the rim and you just tip it down, that's a pretty highly efficient shot, high percentage shot. So we have guys who can go get those, and we encourage it. We have a number of them in our playbook, and really try to. Now, the key is not necessarily, you do have to have somebody with the athletic ability, but you have to have a passer. You have to have a guy who can actually put it there. But no, I'm a big fan.
How often do you practice alley-oops? Is that kind of part of one of the practice sessions?
Yeah, I think like there isn't like, hey, this is an alley-oop segment.
Alley-oop hour, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, we don't do any of that. But during the normal flow of just, man, here goes player development. and here are guards practicing pick and rolls. Just, hey, what are the reads? Where do you throw it? When do I throw it? What's the timing? All of that, it's pretty organic. And then there are some things that are structured in order to get the same opportunity.
You talk about high percentage shots. There's a coach like Nate Oates at Alabama, and notoriously they talk about how he only wants shots near the basket or behind the three-point line, no real mid-range. What is your philosophy on the mid-range?
Well, we were talking this morning as a staff. If you look at 2013, there's only 2 players who have better than a 50% range from long twos.
KD?
KD's one of them. Can you guess the other?
LeBron.
No, not LeBron. Chris Paul. Chris Paul. So there are 233
You didn't
players.
give us adequate time to guess, Coach.
Yeah, my bad.
And I feel like that was unfair.
I felt like I was
actually
dialing.
looked you guys up.
I would have got that right,
And
too.
Coach, you put us on the spot.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Go
I
ahead.
looked you guys up and I saw the easy trivia questions.
I would've got
and,
that one.
And I would have flunked
Okay,
those.
all
I'm
right.
telling y'all. Like
So-
28 days in a month. But going back to, there's only 2, and so what you try to find out is what are ways that are quality mid-range shot. Now, I'm not anti mid-range, whereas some coaches are. I'm not. I think there's value in it, in certain responsibilities, what we would call push downs, being able to get close to the guards, basically posting people up through the dribble. And I think those are highly percentage shots. I think if you can get ball screen twos, I can get to the elbow, which is what Chris Paul does a lot. If you have guys, but we show our guys their numbers. And we ask them to be, if you take these twos, you need to be able to make over 50%. So we show them their numbers pretty much after at least every day, if not every other day. So they're well aware of it. And if it's efficient, we're going to do it. But I'm not anti-middle game.
We have 3 final questions for you. Taking over this program, you come, and is it a culture change that you have brought in? Is it a culture elevation from what's been here? Like, when you come into a new program, it doesn't have to be here, it could be ORU, wherever. Like, what is your mindset when you go into a new place?
Yeah, it's the people. There's nothing magical about any specific school. Just because you have a certain jersey on the front of it doesn't mean you're going to win. The people have to matter. So whatever it is that we can do in order to help the people. So, when I got here, the guys asked for PlayStations. It's like, hey, we don't have PS5s. And I was like, done deal. They had an older refrigerator, and I just came in and said, man, we need to get a newer refrigerator. And so some of it's just like, how do we help the players? And so in my mind, let's get the right people. Let's get the right people in here. And then how do we help them? Like, what are the things that we can do to help them? I mean, again, everybody talks about, well, you need to have excellence in all things. I just think you're not going to have the best of everything, but you do need to take excellent care of what you are stewarded with. And for us, that's the people. We want to take excellent care of them and make sure we have the right guys in the locker room from a character standpoint. And that's kind of how you make the strides.
Coach, we were talking about fishing a second ago
Yeah.
before we started here. What do you like about fishing? Because I was talking to my wife. She asked me, and I said, it's kind of like the lottery. You kind of just go in. You don't know if you're going to hit it or not. You don't know if they're going to bite or not. But some days you get a good one.
Yeah.
What do you like about fishing?
So are you familiar with live scope? Have you ever heard this term in fishing? All right, so this is a video game. All right, so on your boat is a TV, and you can see them. And you can see them swimming down there, and you kind of know. And you're basically going up and throwing the minnow.
It sounds like cheating, Coach.
Listen, that you can't get them to bite. As I tell people, it doesn't mean they're going to bite. They may have just had a steak dinner, all right, and they had shad all night. And all of a sudden, if you just give them a Snickers, they don't want it. So having the things necessary to help them is important. Can I get a water?
Of course you can.
I'm giving him, for those that can't see it, I'm giving Coach the Heimlich right now. I'm saving his life. You guys, they're only listening to the audio of this. I got you. There he goes.
Thank you.
Harder,
Yep, got him. I just saved his life for everybody watching. Oh, there you okay? Okay, good. Pat.
Okay, I think he's breathing. He's breathing now.
He's
He's
good.
breathing
All
now,
right,
Buzz.
save it. Okay, there he is. Eddie, mouth to mouth.
Okay.
Give him. There you go.
Coach, open up.
All right.
I'm coming in.
All right, there he is. No, you can't pass. Your life is being saved. Can you imagine you're going to save someone's life and they
He's not.
pass? No.
Aren't you unconscious?
No, we're good.
Please,
All right.
not you.
Last question. You all right?
Yeah, all good.
Because I was having some of those peanuts too, and I got a little bit of that. I thought I was going to sue, but if it's happening to him, yeah. So you don't sit down when you coach. or at least I've never seen you sit down. I know you had the injury that kept you from continuing your basketball career. Is that why you don't sit down? Because your vertebrae?
Bad back. Like, and then all of a sudden, if you just jump up at the last second because somebody makes a good play or a bad play, then I really feel it. So it's just easier for me to stand. There's a coach who I used to spend my summers with named Rick Najaris. He would stand all the time.
You would hang out with Rick Majerus?
I love Rick
Rick Majerus is awesome.
Yeah. And when he passed away, he was just so supportive of me and helped me a ton. But he couldn't sit down because of his weight. He was just so big, and it was hard for him sometimes. But for me, I cracked my bottom vertebrae on my spine. And if I sit in bleachers or I sit anywhere too long, my back can lock up. And so it's just best that it doesn't happen in front of 10,000 people. So I just stay standing the whole game.
They should get you like one of those sleep numbers that we have that brings your back up. You can lay in the bed.
Yeah.
It can lift you up.
You know who had that was Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson had one of those bigger chairs than everybody that really helped him with his back. So I could get one of those where you press a button and then it just kind of lifts you out of the seat. Yeah.
Perfect.
And, that would be.
Well, Coach, we really appreciate the time. Good luck with the program. I know everybody's excited about having you here. And by everybody, I mean Eddie and I, because we don't talk to anybody else. It's just us. We stay in our own bubble. Thanks for having us.
Eddie, Bobby, thank you guys for coming.
Awesome. Thanks,
Thank
Coach.
you, Coach.
All right, now this is us talking with Wichita State assistant coach Quincy Acy. Quincy played for Coach Mills at Baylor 08 to 2012 when Coach Mills was assistant there. Drafted in the second round of the 2012 NBA by the Raptors. And he took us through some drills, which you can watch on Too Much Access. And here he is. I mean, just talking NBA, which is cool, with Quincy Acy.
Coach, if you saw us walk in the gym and like we're here to try out, look exactly like this.
First glance.
What will be your thoughts?
First glance, well, if you're here, that means you want to be here.
That's right, we want it.
That's the most important thing. So that's half the battle. You want to be here, I can work with that.
Okay, but what's the other half? Because you'd probably think
The other half is, you
got a lot of
got a
work to
hat
do.
on, I don't know if the shoes are tied all the way. I don't know if you guys will be ready,
my shoes aren't tight.
Yeah, it has a strap, and I don't know how that will hold up.
These are ones without shoe strings.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that.
Yeah, see?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how that will hold up. If somebody has some nice handle, but
I don't have any of that. Nice handle, I have nothing.
we'll get you right.
When you're in the league, do you get free shoes?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Either you're sponsored by a company, Nike, Adidas, whatever, or whatever the league is sponsored by, Nike, Adidas, they have shoes there.
Is it unlimited?
I mean, to a certain extent.
In 2K, you can choose who you want
Yes.
sponsored.
It's not that easy in real life.
What if you
I
have
wish it
VC in
was.
real life, like I left coins?
I mean, they give you money, but it's not really, I guess it's VC, virtual currency.
Yeah.
So you don't really see it.
I guess all currency is virtual. It's in a bank and an account
Exactly.
there.
It's a number.
How has it been adjusting to not being that dude, but now you got to be this dude, the coach that's the leader, not the player?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big ego check. That's the main thing. Check your ego at the door every day. Realize that these dudes don't care about what you did in the past. They want to know how can you help them, and if you care enough about them. So that's the biggest adjustment. But I mean, it comes naturally. My mom was a teacher. My grandmother was a teacher. So I get a great joy out of my job.
Coaching always what you wanted to do after you finish your playing career?
Yes, I think so. My mom, she spotted it early. She told me I would be a coach, but I think it took a longer time for me to accept it. And then once injuries kind of started piling up, I had to kind of accept it a little quicker.
When you're a professional and you are getting injuries, do you want to not have people know you have injuries so they don't know to move you down the bench or off the team? Do you try to get through it, not even fake it, but just try not to make it a thing?
No, definitely. You definitely try to tough through it because, I mean, there are people right behind you waiting to take your spot. So, you have to have a high pain tolerance and try to muscle through some stuff.
All these assistant coaches sitting back there, like, what's your job during the game? Do you focus in on a player, or are you looking at something specific?
Yeah, so I'm kind of looking at it all. The coaches on the front of the bench, we're all kind of have an eye for everything. If it's your scout, you're looking for play calls, looking for tendencies with the players that's on the court. And a lot of the guys behind the bench, they have different roles. They have hustle points, after timeout plays. It's a plethora of different things. But
I'd get a lot of hustle points. That'd be the only points I'd score, though.
That's what I do.
Sounds like 100 hustle points, 0 game points.
You can make a living off of that.
Yeah, exactly. The transition from playing NBA to coaching at college, like baseline, sideline, like there are a lot of different things that you can and can't do in both. So was it natural to come back and coach in college, or did you have to kind of relearn the rules because there are some small differences?
Yeah, it's a lot of differences, actually. There's not as many sideline out-of-bounds plays as it is in the NBA. It's just more so kind of get the ball in. There's no defensive 3 seconds in the NBA, so, you can plan to attack a lot differently. So, you know, it's an adjustment, and I wanted to come back to kind of, like you said, kind of go back to the grassroots to learn the ins and outs, what it is I'm looking for in players, what do young talent look like nowadays, you know. So, yes, college was a great choice for me.
What do people see in you as an 18, 19-year-old player?
I think that passion, they see that I played, they see that I care. I come out here, I kind of talk a little trash, you know, they can relate a little bit. And I've done what they've done or trying to do, you know what I mean? So I've been through all the spoils, all the hard times. I know what it looks like, and I have a different perspective. You know, it's a different eye from the sideline than it is when you're on the court, you know, so I can kind of give them that perspective.
What coach saw you at 18, 19 and invested a lot in you to make sure that you be the guy to go to the next level?
Coach Mills, the head coach here, you know, he recruited me at Baylor when I was 15, and, you know, he was responsible for rebounding all my bricks that I was shooting up in college, and we just built a great relationship. But he saw it early, you know, he saw the competitiveness, the passion, and the skill. He knew that would come along, you know, with just with hard work.
15?
Yeah, 15 years old, yeah.
Well, how many star recruit were you?
I think I was a 4-star recruit.
You don't remember? I'd have it tattooed on me. My nipples would be tattooed with stars, and in the middle.
Four stars.
Yeah, that would be the whole. I'd be so proud of that. I mean, I won Dancing with the Stars, and I got a Mirrorball trophy on my arm somewhere. So if I had star, it'd be like all the way up and down the middle.
You won Dancing with the Stars. You believe that?
I did not.
You don't look at me as like a pure athlete.
I don't never judge a book by its cover.
That's right.
You know.
But that could also be interpreted as an insult. Because
depends how you look at it.
Exactly.
It depends how you look at it.
Coach, what do you do with a player that's just kind of, you know, not really just moving as hard as he should or playing as hard as he should? Like, how do you motivate someone like that?
Yeah, I mean, each player is different. You know, it's different things kind of gets different players going. Some guys you can kind of challenge. Some guys you can kind of call out in front of everybody. Some guys you got to kind of go up and see what's going on behind closed doors. It's different for each guy, and you know you have to really be careful, you know, because if you yell at a guy that doesn't respond well to that, you know, now he shuts down and now you can't get anything out of him. So, you know, it's a learning curve in that aspect, you know.
When you're playing in the league, who was the hardest guy that you had to guard?
I tell people that my toughest matchup was when I was with the New York Knicks, going against LaMarcus Aldridge. He was in the contract year, so
he's trying real hard.
Yeah, he had a lot more to play for.
Yeah.
And I think the Knicks were interested in him, so it was even more. I think he probably scored on me 7 times in a row. Not 7 points, like 7 times.
And not hustle points,
yeah,
like real points.
These were real baskets. Yeah. So that gave me my toughest matchup. But overall, you know, guys like LeBron, KD, you know, they're just so big and so skilled. It's so hard to guard them.
You played with Carmelo in New York?
I did.
What was he like as a teammate, and what was it? That's a rare combination, at least then. Mm-hmm. Now guys are getting a lot bigger with a lot more ball skills, able to shoot a lot better. Mm-hmm. Like that was a very rare thing for Carmelo at his time coming out of Syracuse. Yeah. What was that dude like to play with?
I love Carmelo, man. I saw him this summer at the Top 100 camp. His son was there. So I got a chance to kind of catch up with him. Great dude, great teammate, off the court, just unbelievable. And on the court, I mean, he's just a competitor. You know, he's gonna make you feel him whenever you guard him. You know, he's always bumping you, pulling on you. You've heard all the recordings of, you know, how he talks when he's getting the rebounds and stuff. So that's just who he is. You know, he's a competitor and just a great guy.
He said the Pelicans tried to get him back this year.
Yeah, that's what I heard. After he retired.
Yeah, after he retired. What if the Pelicans called you today and said, "Can you give us 10 games, Coach?"
I said I can give you 10 games.
You can give me 10?
Yeah, I can give you 10.
What about 70? Could you give him 70?
Could not 70. My body would break down for sure.
2 final questions. Best shooter that you've ever played with or against?
Against Steph Curry.
What's that like? Is he just is he just nonstop?
Nonstop. He doesn't stop moving. I was in the same game. I think it was when Clay was kind of going back and forth with Omri Caspi, but it was just like Omri made a shot, Clay made a shot, Omri made a shot, Steph made a shot. It was about 6 trips back and forth with nobody missed. Craziest thing I've ever been a part of. And then the best shooter I played with, I gotta say Dirk Nowitzki, but Steve Novak is very high on that list. He was a sniper. You know, I mean, it was no meat on that or no fat on that shot. You know, he straight to it and it's all net.
That's kind of how I do it.
Yeah.
No, yours is all fat, no net.
All fat.
Yeah, you heard him wrong. You heard him wrong.
My bad.
Last question: as a coach, what are you about? Like, Just straight up, like, what are you about as a coach?
I mean, competitiveness. Like, when I played, I was just competitive. I just had a will to win, that couldn't be matched, in my opinion. And, that's kind of what I try to bring out of these guys. It's in everybody. Everybody has a level of competition and a level of they don't want to lose or whatever in them. And it's just on you as a coach to figure out ways to bring it out of them, So that's what I'm about, just toughness, grittiness.
I'm perfect for you then.
There we go.
I have a will to win. I just never win, but I have a will. I have a will too.
You just been with the wrong guy.
Last up is guard Xavier Bell. Bell spent his first 2 years at Drexel before coming back to Kansas to play for the Shockers. Super nice guy. You can keep up with Xavier on Instagram at @1of1xb. Here he is, Xavier Bell.
How many shots do you think you get up a day, Xavier?
A good 250.
Just regardless, like you're at least gonna get 250 in?
Yeah.
Eddie was trying to shoot 1,000 today.
I got to 47, and I kind of just
He got tired. Yeah, so is there any advice you'd like to give him?
Just keep going, man. I think 47, you're chipping away a little bit, so you got...
Tiny chips.
Yeah.
Paint chips.
baby steps.
Yeah. So we were looking at some of your numbers this year. Right now, averaging about 15 a game. Do you know where you are point-wise during a game, or are you just playing, or do you catch up in between halves?
They kind of showed on our scoreboard every game, so I kind of look up from time to time, but for the most part, I don't really try and get too caught up in that. I kind of just want to help our team win.
If you're feeling it, does the bucket feel huge? Does it feel like you can't? Are there those moments where you're like, man, I don't know if I can miss?
Yeah, I feel like the person in front of me is having a rough night, so I like to just keep going on that. So.
Can you ever identify that before a game, or is that always in game when you kind of feel like you're in the zone?
I try and get my mind right before the game. Kind of come in with the right attitudes. It's not really who I'm going against; it's really what I can do. So just kind of focus on that, just to keep going for sure.
In baseball, if you're throwing really good before the game in the bullpen, that's kind of a bad sign.
Mm-hmm.
If you're shooting and you're making everything you shoot around. Now in basketball, is that good, or does that not matter at all?
I think it's good. It kind of puts a little bit more confidence in my head already than what already is in there. So I would say, a little bit. Sometimes I don't like to make a lot, just so that way I go in.
You don't want to waste them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Go in the game, start missing, get in my head a little bit more. So just stuff like that.
Is playing on the road much harder, or is it just the same to you?
I would say it's more fun just to be able to go into someone else's environment and try and give them your best and hopefully shut up their crowd. So yeah.
What's the best road win you've ever had? I mean, it just felt good. Like that baby had some candy and you walked in, they took the sprees right out of their hand and they ate them all.
We played a really good game against Tulane last year at Tulane, I would say. So that was probably a good road win for us, I would say.
What's the game where you felt collegiately most in the zone? Even if you hadn't scored the most points, like you felt, even your passes were super crisp.
I would say, so it wasn't here. I was at an old school, but I scored 30 in a game, and I think the flow was just second nature, just to keep getting to the bucket. So that was probably my best one for sure.
Is it like Harry Potter where you don't say the guy's name? Like, what's the guy's name in Harry Potter? Voldemort? Is it like you don't say the old school? I felt that. It's like Voldemort. We don't say that. Don't even exist anymore.
Exactly.
Dude, what's it like being an elite athlete in college? Like, my college is like, we just partied and...
It's a grind. I think you got to wake up every day, with the right attitude, right mindset, weights, classes, practice as well. But just making sure you're putting your best foot forward in whatever it is that you do. So.
But do you get to have fun? Like, do you get to enjoy college like everyone else?
Yeah, of course. There's off days, so you're able to unwind and relax. Catch up with old friends, stuff like that. Family that's close by. I'm from here, so my family's close. But I would say it's nothing too taxing, especially since I've been doing the sport my whole life.
Can you hear your family in the stands since they've always been with you and you know their voices?
Nah, but I know where they are, so I like to look over at them from time to time for sure. My dad especially, but for the most part, you definitely can't hear them.
That's got to be exciting though for your family to be able to just drive down the road.
Absolutely.
And that had to mean a lot to you to come play here too.
It did. I went to a school that was about 20 hours away right out of high school, so it was kind of tough for them to get to a bunch of games. But once I would transfer back and everything, it was super cool just to see them at all the games that they can come to.
Yeah, Voldemort, you.
Oh, right.
Yeah, University of Baltimore. Yeah. We don't. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it hard? Like you talk about your dad. Like, is it hard to tell your dad like that? I'm at another level now. Like I got coaches that.
Oh, like he's above.
You know what I mean? Like, because my kids do that with me. It's like, Dad, We got Coach.
And that's funny you said that because when I first transferred back last year, me and my dad kind of got into it early because he was just so big on getting in the gym with me, doing this, doing that. I'm like, well, I have coaches now who do that for me. And he's like, well, you can never get away from the basics. And I'm like, I understand that, but it's just a different level that you got to kind of do it at now. So it was tough at first, but I think he's got acquainted to it just like I have. So
If you wanted to shoot around here, could you come in at any time and shoot in this gym?
yeah, so and the coaching staff we have now and everything too, they have a lot of GAs on staff who rebound for us, get in the gym whenever we're available and all that. So I like to come in the morning before class just to get it out the way and then maybe shoot after practice and everything. So
Hey, somebody to rebound for you, that would be awesome.
That'd be great.
yeah.
They'd work a lot harder for us, though, than him. They'd be chasing. We need two. We need one on each side of the room. They'd be chasing him like crazy. Yeah. What would your teammates say about you if we asked them when you weren't around? And we said, what's Xavier all about? What would they say about you?
Just the right things. I would just say, trying to be the best leader I can. Obviously, I'm not a leader in everyone's eyes, but I just try and do the right thing that I know is right for my team and for everybody around me as well.
All right, last three questions. Do you ever play yourself into shape? Is that a thing? Or do you get in shape and you play yourself into better shape?
I would say you play yourself in a better shape. I think coaches do a really good job off season, kind of preparing you for those type of runs, those type of different environments. But I don't think it's up until you get that first win going up against someone who's also been preparing at that same level as you that you're like, okay, this is what I need to pick it up to now. So then day in and day out, that's where you're just trying to get better and better at.
Are you good at 2K?
No, I don't play. I haven't bought the new 2K. I know I'm gonna get crap for that.
Yeah, we
but
play all the time.
Yeah, man. We're gonna invite you in our league.
Yeah,
it's the same though. It's like every year is the same. I've heard 24 is the best one yet, but I hear that every single time a new 2K comes out.
Okay,
So
but like you got court knowledge. You know what you're doing. So when you play the game, do you just dominate?
My friends would tell you otherwise, but I'm gonna tell you,
Yeah. Mid-range, how you feel about mid-range?
I like it. I don't take a lot of them. I shoot a lot of floaters more than just pull-up mid-ranges, but I actually like that part of the game. I think it's a lost art, but it's really good. It's appealing to me, I would say.
You ever dunk?
Have I ever dunked?
Do you ever dunk?
Not since the season started, but I've dunked this year.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay. Only breakaway, or you ever put it on somebody?
It was on somebody this year.
That's what I'm talking about. We'll find that clip.
How hard is it to not hang on the rim like when it's a good dunk? For real though, you just want to.
Yeah, I would
How do
say
you
it's
know?
all about.
You've never dunked in your life. How do you know?
One time, man.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you stepped on his back. That's right. Yeah.
I would say it's all about momentum. So like, if two hands, it's probably harder not to hang on the rim. But one hand, I think it's all about just getting off the rim and then letting the dude know that you just dunked on him and everything.
Oh, how would you let him know without the ref knowing you let him know? Because if you let him know, well, if you stand over him like I do sometimes, then that, you got to get hit with that.
Yeah, I would say it's word choice is what I would say.
Yeah.
Word choice. So I don't like to, I'm not going to say what I would say on camera. The clip that they got of me this year, they got what I said on camera, but
Okay, we'll say words and then you tell us if it's the word.
Yeah, I'll go first. You're a satisfactory good dude. Was that it?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that was it. I read his lips. Yeah, that was good. Xavier, we appreciate you.
Appreciate
have
you.
a great season.
For sure.
Yeah, hope you're healthy. And this is for Xavier right here.
Yeah.
No. That would have been awesome.
All right, that's it. The final whistles. I got football cards here to give away just for that.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
How are we gonna do that?
Eddie, you get a Malik Willis.
Yeah.
Titans.
I'll take it. I like it. Liberty dude.
Reed, you get an Amari Cooper.
Cool.
What
Don't know
the-
who that is.
Why
but
would
that's
you
good.
give him the Amari one?
He didn't know
Just
who it is.
drawn.
Eddie, you get Kevin, you get a Denzel Mims.
Okay.
Do you know your team plays for?
Patriots.
Denzel Mims. No, he
No,
does
don't worry
not
about
play-
it.
Bears.
Jaguars.
Oh, I would not have guessed that.
Mike, you get a Kyler Murray.
I'll take it.
Damn, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a Tayshaun Gibson.
That's Reed's.
Reed.
Come on.
Niners.
And then I have this.
Yes.
I'm going to keep this, see if it's any good.
Whoa,
It's a
whoa.
NBA Hoops rookie special, Asar Thompson. Let me know if that's worth anything, Mike.
Oh, I play for the Pistons.
Now he does. He was
Yeah.
drafted first round.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
I just
rookie
saw the back
special,
of the
Asar
card.
Thompson. Oh, you saw that from over there.
Yeah, dude. I got
Or
LASIK.
on camera.
No. My eyes. I got LASIK. You can see
It's
everything.
a Panini.
$10.
Oh. This one goes to. Do you want it, Mike?
What the?
You can give it to Eddie.
Okay, Eddie. Can have it.
Yeah, thanks, Mikey. Guys, it's gonna go straight to my kids. Don't act.
And I have you can do whatever you want with all these. I don't even care.
You open a new pack?
I got a new pack here. We're gonna open. This first one is a Brett Favre rookie card.
Oh God.
We're gonna give this to Reed.
Yeah.
Brett Favre.
Favre.
Okay, here we go. We got a Matthew Berry draft card.
What? He has his
Matthew
own card?
Berry? Interesting.
We got a first overall 1985 Bruce Smith.
No.
Wow, that's cool, man. The Bills.
We got an All-American Caleb Williams draft card.
Yeah, that's gonna be something.
We got a draft card, Brock Bowers. Dude, this is gonna be
Nice.
worth a nickel or $1,000. I don't know. Mike could have lied to me just to get the card. And then a Bijan Robinson. They can't put the Longhorn on there. They wiped the Longhorn off, but Touchdown Kings card.
They didn't pay for the licensing?
I guess not. Hey, been there.
Yeah, sure. We know what that's like.
Hey, what's the deal?
Still waiting, but we're making progress. We're moving along.
In waiting?
And waiting.
No, we're making progress and waiting?
And waiting.
Okay.
Yes.
We're waiting.
Last I heard is double checking again.
Reed just sent me something. If you want to use this during the episode, he sent it to me right now.
I just saw it. I just saw
Like,
it.
he literally sent some material right now as we're ending it.
What was it?
This will be Super Bowl 58. If you had 5 and 8 together, you get 13. Taylor Swift. San Francisco 49ers are playing in the game. 4 and 9 added together are 13.
Taylor Swift.
Reed, are you a Taylor conspiracy person?
No, I just saw this. I was like,
The
that's kinda
49ers are the 1
interesting.
seed in the NFC, while the Chiefs are the 3 seed in the AFC.
13.
They're cherry picking things that equal 13. They're not showing every number from everything. Taylor Swift is scheduled to take a plane from her concert in Tokyo to Las Vegas. The flight time from Tokyo to Las Vegas is roughly
13.
13 hours.
Roughly.
Come on, guys.
If Swift does indeed make it to game, this will be her 13th appearance at a Kansas City Chiefs game this season.
Come on.
To date, the Super Bowl, February 11th, 2024, 2 and 11 added together is 13.
Wow.
Wait, what?
This is crazy.
See, keep going.
Wait, the
man.
date of the Super Bowl is February 11th. Oh, okay, got it. If you subtract 13 from 100, you get 87, which is the jersey number of Swift's boyfriend.
That's true.
This is so stupid.
No, that's so true.
Reed, I did want to use it in the episode. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
If you get a false start, that's a 5-yard penalty. And if you.
And then you get an 8.
Yeah.
If you go for
Octopus.
2 after a
Octopus.
touchdown, then
That's
you
2
add those
points.
up.
That's 13.
Yeah.
And we talked about Dan Marino earlier, who was
Oh,
number 13.
13.
Oh, yeah, see?
Dang.
All right.
Wow.
This could possibly be our final episode. Thank you guys for listening.
Hey, I love you guys.
Thank you.
If this is our last one.
I've not heard from Kevin during this. But Eddie, you got to give us one good blow before you end.
Oh, I'll give you my best blow.
Here he is, Mr.
You ready?
Blow. Go ahead. Wow.
Nice job, dude.
Is that good? That camera crew's like, what just happened in there?
That's awesome. All right, it's been a real treat. Thank you guys. Maybe we'll see you next week. We probably won't. We don't know.
Love you guys.
It's like when a show goes to after they finish their season and they wait to be picked up or not, and they just wait, wait by their phones.
Yeah.
We'll let you guys know. when
Miss
we
you guys
know.
already.
At 25 Whistles. That's our deal there. We'll see you guys soon, or we won't. Bye, everybody.